I'm Bill Volckening, and I'm here at QuiltCon in Austin, Texas. This is the 2015 QuiltCon, and I have a display of vintage 1970s quilts. It's called Modern Materials, Quilts of the 1970s, and this is the debut of the collection. I'm standing by this quilt because it's a very special one to me. It was the first one I ever bought from the 1970s. I had collected quilts for maybe 20 years up to that point. It was almost 20 years, maybe a little bit more, and only really looked at quilts that were 100 years old or more. I never looked at anything that was younger than that because it wasn't really an antique. So I saw this quilt at the Portland Expo, one of the biggest antiques and collectibles expos in the world. And it really baffled me because I was kind of into it, and I didn't know why. I actually left it there and came back the next day because I couldn't stop thinking about it, taking the advice of my mother, who always said, if you're shopping for antiques and you leave something behind and can't stop thinking about it, go back and get it. Of course, one-of-a-kind original. I discovered it in Oregon, and it's actually attributed to Oregon on the card here, but I've since discovered that this could be a Hawaiian tradition of cutting up Hawaiian shirts and structuring them in blocks like this. I found another example, and I talked to a woman today from Hawaii who was telling me about the tradition, so I think we've have a little bit more attribution to this quilt. One of the things I really love about it is the hot colors and all the brightness to it. It's a very happy quilt. I call it Wild Thing because that's sort of how I felt about it when I saw it. I thought it was very wild. Wild thing, I think I love you. And I wasn't sure if I did. I wanted to know for sure, so I brought it home with me, and sure enough, I loved it. 5 years later, I have 100 1970s quilts and displaying them in places like QuiltCon, so I'm delighted to be here.